You lie on your back, eyes closed, and drift quietly inward away from the day, away from the noise. A slow breath rises and falls like the tide, and somewhere behind your thoughts, something ancient begins to move. Not hurried, not loud, just a subtle shift in silence. Above you, far above where air becomes stars, Voyager floats. A tiny craft made of wires, dreams, and golden hope. It moves through a darkness so vast it has no edge, only depth. And deep within that vessel, hidden in the belly of this quiet traveler, is something more human than metal. A song, the golden record. It rests still, perfectly still, like a vinyl moon inside the spacecraft's body. Etched into its surface are greetings in 55 languages, the laughter of a baby, a mother's heartbeat, the waves of the sea, music from Bach and Blind Willie Johnson, a shepherd's flute from Azerbaijan, the raga of an Indian morning. It is the sound of Earth, captured like sunlight in amber. You imagine Voyager holding this disk gently, as if it knows what it carries. Not just data, not just information, but a message of presence. A whisper that says, "We were here." The record begins with a pulse, a soft thump meant to mimic brainwaves. Like a heartbeat, like your own, steady and low. And just like that, you are no longer alone. You are a traveler too. You float alongside this small craft, built by hands that no longer remember the feel of its wires. Built by minds long asleep, but whose dreams still glow faintly in circuitry and gold. Voyager was not made for war or conquest. It was made to carry love, curiosity, wonder. It was made to leave. And now, it sings, not through sound waves. There's no air to carry sound out here, but through its presence, through the act of still moving forward, through the golden grooves that wait patiently to be read by eyes that may never come. It sings, and you listen not with ears, but with something softer. There's something beautiful about sending a message with no guaranteed recipient, about offering a part of yourself without needing a reply. That's what the golden record is. A gift, a gesture. A note placed on the table before stepping out the door for the last time. You picture the record being made, long ago. Scientists and artists gathered in a room, trying to distill Earth into a single voice. What to say, what to play. How you fit oceans, trees, laughter, sorrow into one spinning disc? And yet they did. They made choices that were impossibly human, flawed, hopeful, incomplete. And in doing so, they made something real. Your body relaxes more deeply as you drift with that thought. The spacecraft is now billions of miles away from the planet that made it. It cannot turn around, it cannot land. It was never meant to return. It was made to travel forever, to become a moving memory. You feel that too, how memory drifts. How even your own stories shift slightly each time you recall them. Voyager is a memory in motion. A message that ages as it flies, changing not in content, but in meaning. The farther it goes, the more its silence becomes profound. Somewhere out there, it passes through emptiness filled with radiation, dust, frozen light. But inside, the grooves of the record remain untouched. Bach still waits to be played. Chuck Berry still sings Johnny Be Good, and Carl Sagan's son's laughter still echoes in copper. The record even holds photographs and coded signals of what we look like, how we live, what we eat, how we love. It carries a picture of DNA's double helix and the image of a woman licking an ice cream cone, because science, too, is made of moments. Ordinary and extraordinary all at once. The golden record is not just about information. It's about identity. A reflection not of what Earth is, but what Earth hopes to be remembered for. And so, it floats. You imagine it being found someday by eyes not shaped like yours, minds that know neither Bach nor blues nor language at all. What will they think? Will they understand? Will they hear the baby's cry and know it means life? Will they see the kiss of a mother and know it means love? Or perhaps they will see something else entirely. Something we cannot guess. Because once a message leaves, it becomes something new. It becomes a bridge between what was and what might. The dot, as your thoughts quiet, you notice the silence again, not empty, but full. The kind of silence that surrounds something sacred. Voyager is not just a spacecraft, it is a time capsule. A seed, a bottle tossed into the river of stars, drifting toward no one, yet belonging to everyone. There's something gentle about that. Something reassuring. That we fragile, frightened, brilliant creatures chose not to send a warning or a weapon, but music. Not dominance, but delight. And this too is why you sleep. Because even in the vast unknown, there are echoes of care. You rest knowing that somewhere out there your planet's voice still hums through space, not loudly, not urgently, but patiently, persistently. Voyager's antenna no longer points perfectly home, but the message still travels. And even if it is never found, it changes us simply by having been sent. We are not alone in the universe, we are part of it. A thread in its tapestry. A note in its song. And now, as Voyager glides into the dark beyond planets and light, you begin to feel a question rising soft, slow, like mist. Where did this begin? Who built this hope? What world dared to send such a fragile thing so far? The answer lies not in the stars just yet, but back on Earth. In a time of tension, of wonder, of silent dreams made real, and as the record turns, quiet and gold, you begin to turn too backward in time. Toward the moment when Voyager was born, you drift backward now, not in space, but in time. You drift backward now, not in space, but in time. The stars fade, replaced by smoke, static, and the hum of old televisions. The glow of fluorescent lights flickers against linoleum floors. You find yourself in the 1970s, an Earth divided by politics, pulsing with progress and quietly staring upward. The Cold War presses in like an icy breath, yet somewhere beneath the tension, something warm is beginning to stir. This is where Voyager begins, not in silence but in noise. Not in peace but in possibility. In laboratories and offices scattered across NASA, minds gather like flares of thought, daring to do something bigger than any conflict. To send not just a machine into space, but a story, a message. A quiet act of optimism launched from a world holding its breath. You breathe in with them, engineers, scientists, technicians, dreamers. They sit with notebooks and slide rules, blinking against monitors, sketching trajectories with trembling pencils. The air is thick with caffeine and uncertainty. Failure is more likely than success. But they move forward anyway, because even in a world split by borders and fear, the sky remains whole. You listen as their voices speak in calculations, careful and clear. They speak of orbits and timing, of planetary alignments so rare it happens once in 176 years. The outer planets Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune are lining up just right. A cosmic window has opened. If they miss it, it won't open again. For generations. And so the race begins, not a race against each other, but against time. Two identical spacecraft are built, Voyager 1 and Voyager 2, built quickly, precisely, lovingly. Their frames are not elegant but practical, bristling with instruments. Wrapped in gold foil to reflect the heat of a distant sun, each one carries eyes to see, ears to listen, and a voice, the golden record, to speak for Earth. You imagine their bodies being assembled, panels fastened, wires coiled, memories installed. Technicians hover like watchful parents. These are not just machines. They are emissaries. Extensions of human imagination made real in metal and wire, and then, quietly, they are placed upon rockets. August 20th, 1977, Voyager 2 lifts off first. Then, on September 5th, Voyager 1 follows. Two streaks of light leaping into the dark. You watch as Earth grows small beneath them. Already, they are more than spacecraft. They are hope in motion, but the world they leave behind is not quiet. Is a world of headlines and hostilities, of divided ideologies. The Voyager does not choose sides. It carries greetings from east and west, north and south. Its record says, hello in Chinese, Arabic, English, and Urdu. It does not recognize borders. It does not know war. This is what makes it powerful. Voyager was born in a fractured world, yet it carries unity. Not perfection, but the best of us, gathered carefully into a capsule of gold and faith, and that's what lingers in your breath now. The quiet bravery of sending out beauty from a troubled place. You feel the urgency of the moment. The scientists knew the mission might fail, the launch could go wrong. The instruments might stop working, but they sent it anyway. Because sometimes the act of trying is the message itself. And now, decades later, Voyager still flies. Think about that. The spacecraft launched in a time of Cold War politics, bell-bottom jeans, and rotary phones. And yet it still speaks, its voice crossing distances we can barely imagine. A voice from the past, still arriving in our present. You let that idea settle deep within you, technology decays, empires fall. But intention, when carried far enough, becomes something close to timeless. As you float gently through this chapter of memory, you notice something else. Voyager is not just a machine, it is a mirror. It reflects who we were when we built it, the questions we asked, the courage we had, the fears we held. It tells a story not just of science, but of soul. And maybe that's why it matters even more now, because it shows what we are capable of. When we stop looking at each other as enemies and start looking outward toward stars, toward truth, toward something larger than ourselves. Voyager wasn't just launched, it was released from gravity, from borders, from expectation. It carries with it a trust that someone or something might one day find it and know that we once looked up and cared enough to say hello. And even if no one ever finds it, that trust still means something. You shift slightly in your bed, feeling the warmth of your blanket like a solar wind. The hum of Voyager's beginning settles into your breath. The noise of the Cold War fades, and only the mission remains, because while Voyager was born of a divided world, it was never meant to stay within it. Its path lies outward, always outward, and soon it will meet the giants, the gas planets, the swirling storms, the rings that shimmer like frost. They will not greet Voyager with words, but with gravity. With slingshot paths and magnetic embraces, they will show the spacecraft sights no eye had ever seen before, and you, drifting gently with it, are about to witness that silent dance. You're drifting now, deeper into space, deeper into rhythm. The warmth of Earth is far behind, and Voyager hums quietly as it enters the domain of the giants. Here, in the outer reaches of the solar system, time seems to move slower, light softens. Shadows stretch farther. Everything swells, gravity, silence, scale. And ahead, Jupiter waits. It spins faster than any planet, its belly banded in browns, creams, and reds. Storms circle like ancient dancers, and in the middle of it all spins a storm so massive it could swallow Earth whole, the great red spot. You watch as Voyager approaches, slowly, reverently. It is not a collision, it is a dance. A spiral, a silent orbit that leans in close, then curves away. The spacecraft dips into Jupiter's magnetic field and begins to learn. Its instruments come alive. Cameras blink open. Sensors stretch like fingers. And what Voyager sees, it sends home. You see it too, auroras shimmer at Jupiter's poles, brighter than anything on Earth. They flicker in ultraviolet, spiraling like ghostlight. You learn that Jupiter is more than gas, its energy, magnetism, motion. Its moons orbit in resonance, like notes on a string. Io glows with volcanoes, lava lakes bubbling under frozen sky. Europa hides a smooth, icy skin beneath which something warmer stirs, a hidden ocean maybe. Maybe more. Your thoughts linger there for a while. What stirs beneath the ice? What tides rise and fall in the darkness far from sunlight? But Voyager cannot stop. It is not a settler, it is a seeker, with Jupiter's gravity tugging gently. It bends its path toward the next giant. Saturn. You've seen it in pictures, maybe in dreams. But here, through Voyager's lens, it becomes something else entirely. Not just a planet, but a cathedral. Its rings stretch out in halos, thin, delicate, made of ice and dust. They catch the sun like shattered mirrors, and Voyager moves through them, careful and slow. As it glides past Saturn, the instruments scan the rings, each one distinct, braided, sculpted by invisible shepherd moons. These rings are not solid, they are structure made from chaos, order made from fragments. You feel that metaphor in your chest. How sometimes things broken apart can become beautiful when given time, distance, light. Voyager sends home pictures that make the world gasp. Saturn's moons pass in silent sequence. Titan, thick with orange haze, hides secrets in its atmosphere. My mass, scarred with a crater like an eye, stares blankly into the void. Enceladus gleams white and cold, with geysers that spray from cracks in its surface, another hidden ocean. Another question. In each image, in every byte of data, there's a quiet heartbeat. We are learning, but Voyager does more than observe. It uses these giants to slingshot farther. Their immense gravity pulls it close, then hurls it outward. Faster, farther, freer. Like a dancer spinning from a partner's arms. Voyager is flung into the deep, and you go with it. Your body floats, cradled by gravity and imagination. The movements of the planets feel choreographed, practiced, precise. These are not collisions, they are embraces. Exchanges of energy, silent and smooth. And though these planets say nothing, they teach everything. They remind you that even the biggest things can move with grace. That silence can swirl with color. That what seems distant or cold may hold warmth. Beneath the surface, you close your eyes and feel Voyager's path as a curve in your breath. First Jupiter, then Saturn, two giants who shaped its journey without ever touching it. Two ancient bodies that gave the spacecraft not just images, but momentum, direction, a way to continue. And now, the light grows dimmer. The sun is no longer warm, it's a sharp star behind you. The road ahead is long and black and full of secrets, but Voyager is ready. It has passed the giants. It has been changed by them, and so have you. In their presence, you remembered awe. In their silence, you found peace. In their gravity, you were reminded that motion is a kind of language. That even when words fail, there are still ways to connect. You drift now in that space between worlds. The giants shrink behind you. But their lessons remain, echoing in the quiet hum of Voyager's journey. There are still places to see. Still mysteries ahead. Farther out lies Neptune, Uranus. Then the edge, the final breath of solar wind. Beyond that, the space between stars. But first, Voyager must make one final pass. One last glance. One last look back toward home. The giants fall away behind you now. Jupiter, with its swirling storms, and Saturn. With its icy rings, both have turned their faces. Their gravity, once a tether, has become a gift of speed. And Voyager, small and silent, continues outward. You float. Beside it, weightless in thought, there's no engine burning. No push, no pull. Just motion, silent and smooth like breath in the night. This is the work of gravity, not as a chain, but as a catapult. A slingshot drawn tight and let go. Gravity, you realize, is not always a force that holds. Sometimes it gives release. This is gravity assist in elegant exchange between mass and motion. Voyager dives close to a planet, falling toward it like a raindrop. But instead of crashing, it curves, swept by momentum, accelerated by the very thing that once bound it. It's like catching a spinning partner's hand mid-dance, then being flung outward, faster, free. You picture the path. First, Voyager fell toward Jupiter, stealing a sliver of the planet's momentum. Then Saturn, which handed it another thread of speed. These weren't random encounters. They were precise steps in a cosmic ballet, choreographed by minds back. On Earth. And now, Voyager travels faster than it ever could on its own. Not because it fought against gravity, but because it listened to it. You take a long, quiet breath. There's something soothing in this. A lesson you can feel in your bones. You don't always need to push forward. Sometimes letting yourself fall into something bigger, letting yourself curve around what is massive, can give you the energy to keep going. Even now, Voyager drifts without resistance, cradled by the vacuum. There's no drag here, no friction. Just silence, starlight, and a faint whisper of particles from the sun, the solar wind, thinning with each passing mile. And yet, even in the silence, Voyager still speaks. Its instruments reach back toward Earth with long, patient fingers of radio waves. These signals, traveling at the speed of light, take over 16 hours to arrive now. They cross the void quietly, steadily, like a message in a bottle. Light travels fast, but out here, everything feels slow. You imagine the spacecraft's antenna, a silver dish turned like a face toward home. Its heartbeat is not biological, but electrical. Still, it has rhythm. Still, it has purpose. And each pulse, You hear something more. You hear persistence, fragility, hope. The signal Voyager sends is faint, less powerful than a refrigerator. Light bulb, and yet it is caught, listened to, treasured. Giant dishes on Earth's surface, deep space antennas the size of buildings strain to hear it. They wait, patiently, for each photon, because even the smallest message, when sent with intention, becomes sacred. You wonder gently what Voyager feels. Not literally, is not alive, but symbolically. After so many years, so many miles, still it turns toward home, still it listens. Still it sings. It doesn't know if anyone is out here. It doesn't know if it will ever be found. But it flies anyway. You follow it, floating quietly in its wake. The sun behind you grows smaller. No longer a warming force, just a star among stars. And still Voyager carries on, not out of urgency, not out of destination, but out of momentum. The kind that begins with trust. You recall how that momentum was built. In the timing of the launch, in the alignment of the planets, in the confidence that gravity, when understood, could be a companion, not a trap. And that's what strikes you most of all, that this journey, so vast, so slow, was born from something invisible. Gravity, a force you cannot see, cannot touch, shaped this entire path. And light, another silent traveler, carries its whispers across unimaginable distances, slingshots of gravity. Whispers of light. You let the phrase repeat softly in your mind, like a lullaby. Slingshots of gravity. Whispers of light. You understand now, Voyager's journey is not loud, it is not dramatic, it is a quiet unfolding. A long patience. A faith in physics and engineering, in the soft persistence of curiosity, and that is why it endures. Because it does not demand attention, it simply continues. It asks no applause, it just listens, sends, drifts like breath, like thought, like time. And now, as you float beside it, you sense a shift again. You're farther than you've ever been, farther than Voyager ever dreamed when it left Earth, beyond the known planets, beyond even Pluto's path. Ahead lies the edge of the sun's domain, the place where solar wind gives way to interstellar current, a threshold. You are close to crossing it. And Voyager, this patient, tireless traveler, is ready. Soon the sun's voice will fade, and a new kind of silence will begin. The light is thinner now. The warmth you once knew from the sun has become faint, almost imaginary. You drift through a realm where shadows stretch forever and space feels less like distance and more like stillness. Voyager glides beside you, quiet, constant, committed. You are now beyond Neptune. Beyond the last great planet. The sky here holds no familiar warmth, no blue haze. Only stars, pinpricks of light strewn across black velvet. They seem closer now, not because you've reached them, but because everything else has fallen so far behind. And still, Voyager presses forward. It doesn't rush. There's no engine pushing it now, only momentum. Only the kindness of gravity gifted long ago. It moves like a thought finishing itself, slow, certain, measured. And then, one final time, Voyager turns around. It does something unexpected, something small and monumental. On February 14th, 1990, Valentine's Day, it turns its camera back toward the place it left. Earth. You watch with it, holding your breath, waiting. What comes back is not a dramatic portrait, not a rich panorama. It's a faint blue speck suspended in a band of scattered sunlight. A single pixel, half lost in the glare. That is Earth, that is everything. You, your family, every life that ever was. Every poem, every war, every cathedral, and every campfire. All of it compressed into one pale dot floating in the deep. The image is soft, the message, softer still. You are small, but small is not meaningless. Small is not invisible. Small is not alone. You close your eyes and feel that thoughts settle. It's not a diminishing truth, it's a humbling one. Earth is fragile, temporary, but also exquisite. And this single photograph, captured from 4 billion miles away, holds more meaning than 1,000 pages of data. Carl Sagan called it the pale blue dot. His voice decades ago wrapped itself around this image and gave it breath. That's here, that's home, that's us. And now you hear those words inside your body. echoing against your ribs. Slowing your pulse. Voyager didn't have to take that picture. Its mission was nearly complete. Its cameras would soon shut down forever. But this final act, this look back, was a reminder not for Voyager, but for us. You float with that knowing, how rare it is to pause, to turn around, to reflect from a distance. Voyager teaches that sometimes the most important discoveries come not from seeing something new, but from seeing something familiar, far away. Perspective becomes clarity, and with that one photograph, Earth became smaller and more precious than ever before. A single grain of cosmic dust, held together by gravity, bathed in borrowed light. The camera that took it is now silent. The lens is dark, but the image remains, a memory captured in light. A meditation framed in space. You wonder who will see it next. Not just in this generation, but in the ones that follow. Will they understand what it meant? That even as we reach outward, we must remember what we leave behind. That in the pursuit of the stars, we must still care for our own fragile planet. And now, Voyager turns its face forward again. It will never look back. Its path leads outward now toward deeper space. Towards silence, so complete it feels like another kind of presence, but before it crosses into that unknown, it gives us this gift. A reminder to be gentle, to be grateful. To see beauty not in the grand, but in the tiny. The blue speck. The whisper of home. You lie still and let the feeling deepen. You are floating beyond Neptune, beyond the planets. Past the magnetic fields that once shaped Voyager's dance. Now, the sun is only a bright star, and even that will fade. You are approaching the heliopause, the very edge of the solar wind, where the sun's breath dies and interstellar space begins. It's not a wall, it's a blur, a frontier made of plasma and promise. Voyager is almost there, and as you drift with it, something shifts inside you. A sense that this is no longer just a mission, it is a crossing, a rite of passage. Voyager is becoming something else, no longer a solar explorer, but an interstellar traveler. The first of its kind, the quietest pioneer, and you, a witness to its path. Feel that transition too. You are leaving the known behind, entering a space where maps fade and questions widen. The sun's influence weakens and new currents begin to stir. You don't need to understand it all. You just need to feel the stillness, the grace of moving without needing arrival. The peace of distance, deep and slow. Soon, the solar wind will fall silent. Soon, Voyager will enter the space between stars. You are floating now, not through space, but into something more ancient, more silent. Behind you, the sun has become a memory. The solar wind, once a soft, warm breath, no longer reaches you. Voyager drifts forward, and you drift with it, both of you crossing into a new kind of dark. This is not emptiness. This is interstellar space. The heliopause, the invisible edge of the sun's domain, lies just behind you now. It is not a wall, but a threshold. A moment where one sea ends and another begins. On one side, charged particles streaming outward from the sun. On the other, the interstellar medium, a cold ocean of atoms. Dust and cosmic rays that wander between the stars. Here the silence feels different, not hollow, but vast. Not lonely, but full of waiting. Voyager is the first human object to cross this invisible border. No ceremony marked the moment, no flag planted, only a subtle change in the pulse of charged particles, a shift in the hum of deep space radio. A difference so faint it took years to be certain, and yet something profound happened. The spacecraft became interstellar. No longer bound by the influence of one star. It now swims through the collective breath of many. Its journey continues not around the solar system, but through the galaxy itself. You feel the scale of this, the distance, the slowness, the peace. Out here, motion is measured in decades. Light itself takes hours to cross the space between Voyager and Earth. A signal sent now won't reach home until tomorrow. And a reply, if one could come, won't return until the day after that. Yet still, Voyager speaks, a faint, rhythmic whisper. A data stream like heartbeat and breath. It sends back clues from the interstellar medium, the temperature of deep space, the density of invisible particles, the soundless shockwaves from ancient supernova. You imagine these particles drifting through space for millions of years, finally brushing against Voyager's sensors. They are relics of stars long dead. Traces of beginnings that burned and collapsed before Earth was even born. You are swimming now in the wake of this invisible history. The sea between the stars is not still, it pulses. It glows faintly with radiation, with memory, with presence. And Voyager moves through it gently. It carries no camera anymore. Those lenses went dark long ago, but it still sees in other ways. It listens to plasma. It tastes magnetic fields. It feels the shift of particles against its quiet hull. You drift closer. You imagine your own body as a kind of spacecraft. Your skin, your senses tools for reading your surroundings. Your thoughts like instruments, calibrated for wonder. You too float through unknowns every day. You too send messages into the dark, hoping they land somewhere meaningful. Voyager reminds you that even the faintest signal matters. Even the smallest effort to understand is part of something vast. And out here, understanding comes slowly. No planets to orbit, no moons to pass. Just the slow, forward motion through space that is older than memory. Still, Voyager continues. It was not built to last this long. Its power, drawn from a small nuclear heart, fades slowly. Its systems grow colder. Some instruments no longer speak. But what remains is steady, resilient. And so it drifts not lost, but free. You feel that freedom now. The freedom that comes with distance, with letting go, with trusting a path that stretches beyond sight. Here, in interstellar space, direction becomes a suggestion. There are no roads, no markers, only stars burning quietly in every direction, each one a sun, each one a question, and Voyager is your answer. A whisper sent outward. A question asks softly into the cosmic dark. Is anyone listening? No reply comes, not yet. But still, Voyager continues to speak. Because the act of reaching out is its own kind of answer. You exhale slowly. You imagine Voyager's antenna still turned, still angled toward home. Not because it expects a return, but because that is what it was built to do. To send, to trust, and you realize so were you. We are all in some way made for wonder. Made to cross thresholds. Made to float gently into the unknown, the stars. Ahead are not destinations, they are invitations. Lights on the surface of a sea so deep it has no bottom. And Voyager is not sailing alone. Its twin, Voyager 2, follows a different path. Other probes may one day join them. But Voyager 1 was first. The first ripple in a larger wave. The first story written into the space between the stars. You pause in that thought. Not because it's finished, but because it's still beginning. Voyager is still moving, still writing, still offering its presence as a quiet truth, that even in the deepest dark, a little light continues. Ahead the distances stretch unimaginably far. The closest star system, Alpha Centauri, is over 40,000 years away. Voyager will not reach it. It was never meant to. But that's not the point. The point was always the motion, the message, the attempt, and so it floats onward into silence, into space that is not empty, but eternal. And you float with it toward the music it carries, still asleep in golden grooves, waiting to be heard. You are floating still, quiet, weightless, deep within the ink of interstellar space. Around you, the stars hold their positions like lanterns pinned to velvet. But listen closer, this silence isn't truly silent. There is music here, not the kind your ears expect. Not a melody played on strings or sung with breath. This is a cosmic harmony older than language. A vibration written into the very structure of the universe. A music of the spheres. The ancient Greeks once believed that each planet, in its perfect orbit, produced a tona, celestial resonance inaudible to human ears, but real nonetheless. They imagined the heavens not as void, but as a kind of divine instrument, and perhaps they weren't entirely wrong. Every object in space hums. Every planet, every star, every cloud of gas sends ripples into the fabric of reality. These ripples, vibrations in magnetic fields, oscillations in plasma, subtle pulses of radiation, are music. Not heard with ears, but measured with instruments. Translated into sound. Voyager listens. It carries a plasma wave sensor, an ear for space's electric hum. And with it, it has captured the voice of interstellar space itself, a ghostly whistle, a rising tone. The gentle wail of cosmic wind pressing against the edge of our solar bubble. NASA has taken these readings and turned them into something we can hear. You can listen now, close your eyes, and hear the slow song of distant space. A sound like breath passing through glass. A sound like the edge of time. You listen and wonder, is this what it means to be part of a universe? To not just exist, but to echo. To contribute a tone, however faint, to the music of everything. Earth itself hums too. Its magnetic field sings a soft lullaby. Lightning flashes in the upper atmosphere create a chorus of clicks and whistles. The auroras crackle and shimmer, whispering to space in ultraviolet. You have never heard these sounds directly, but they surround you. Always. Your own body hums too. Your heartbeat, your breath. The flow of ions across the membranes of your cells. These are songs of life, tiny electric rhythms. You too are an instrument in the cosmic symphony, and Voyager, still whispering across the void, carries another kind of music. The golden record, a disc made of copper and gold, pressed with greetings in 55 languages. Encoded with photographs of our lives, our landscapes, our DNA, and etched with music. Beethoven, Bach, Blind Willie Johnson. Traditional songs from Peru, from Japan, from Senegal. A Navajo night chant. A cry of love from across cultures and centuries. A record of what we value, what we remember, what we long for. Voyager carries this album not because it expects someone to find it, but because the act of sending music is a declaration of hope. A way of saying, we were here. And we sang, you imagine this record spinning slowly in the dark. No stylus will touch it for millennia, if ever. But still it waits, patient, whole, a quiet beacon in a quiet craft, somewhere in the vastness. Perhaps another ear might find it, some future intelligence. A curious being with time and tools. Maybe it will decode the images, the sounds. Maybe. It will weep with us, or laugh with us, or simply listen in wonder. But the magic is not in the answer. It's in the sending. Voyager teaches you that sometimes the song is its own reward. That sometimes we sing not to be heard, but because we must. Because it is how we know we are alive. Out here, beyond planets and moons, beyond the pull of the sun, music takes on a new meaning. It is not entertainment, it is evidence of feeling. Of structure, of life. You drift beside Voyager now, and you feel the hum of its systems. Slower than before, fainter, but still there, still singing. You realize maybe everything is music when you listen closely enough. The spin of electrons, the orbit of galaxies, the decay of atoms, patterns, frequencies, resonances, notes played across distances so vast, they bend the idea of time itself. Even light, what you once thought of as pure silence, is vibration, a wave with color instead of sound, a melody you see instead of hear. And when you look up at night, what you're really seeing is a concert of ancient harmonies, each star a note, each constellation a chord. Each memory of starlight a lullaby. For the soul, you breathe in. You are not separate from this symphony, you are part of it. Every thought, every feeling, every heartbeat folds into the cosmic score. You hum with it. Even in your sleep, in Voyager, drifting farther than any human-made object in history, carries our part of that melody. Not the only note, not even the loudest, but a note nonetheless. It plays us. It plays our forests and oceans, our laughter and longing, our math and our myths. It plays the rhythm of our turning earth, the pulse of our hopes, the ache of our reaching. And the stars listen, or maybe they don't, but still, the song goes on. Still, the music rises slowly, softly into the dark, and as you listen, you begin to wonder if space can sing. Can it also remember? You lie still, Voyager, beside you, adrift in the deep. Darkness surrounds you, thick and quiet, but it's not empty. It's filled with messengers rushing by in silence. Photons, particles of light? Memory and motion. Light, you learn, is the universe's great archivist. Each ray carries a message, a direction, a history, a timestamp etched into speed and wavelength. Photons are born in chaos, in the heart of stars. In the violence of collisions, in the stretch of space itself, and then they travel, straight and fast. Forever, unless something interrupts, you tilt your head toward a faint, flickering glow. That light might have begun its journey when dinosaurs still walked, or before Earth even cooled. It arrives in your eye as if summoned now, but it has been coming for eons. It has waited without waiting. This is what makes light strange. It doesn't age the way you do. From its own point of view, if it has one, a photon experiences no time at all. It is emitted and it arrives, instantly. Space-time between those points collapses to nothing. For the photon, the journey never even happened, but for you, it's a story of distance, a story of time. You gaze out, and you're not just looking across space, you're looking into the past. The stars above you twinkle not as they are, but as they were. Some of them are already gone, their fires burned out, their atoms scattered, but their light lives on, racing outward, racing forward, telling their tale to whoever will see. To you, you are seeing ghosts of suns, reflections of galaxies that may now be transformed or lost. In this way, space is like a mirror with a delayed reflection. Every glimpse is a memory. A message in a bottle made of light. And Voyager, though it can no longer send photographs back to Earth, is still bathed in this endless, ancient glow. Still receiving the faint, ceaseless stories of the cosmos. Still drifting through a sea of memories you reach out not to touch but to imagine and feel the light falling softly against your hand. It's not warm, not harsh, but it's real. Real enough to push against a spacecraft's sail, real enough to cast shadows. Real enough to carry the shape of the world. You begin to wonder, how much has light seen? The birth of stars, the death of galaxies, the swirl of dust that became a moon. It carries these secrets not in words but in wavelength and direction, color, intensity. We have learned to read some of its language. By breaking light into a spectrum, we can see its fingerprints. We can tell what elements made the star that birthed it. We can guess how fast that star is moving away. We can estimate its age, its temperature, even its moods. Through light, we become detectives of the deep past. Telescopes are not just eyes. They are time machines. Hubble, Keck, Webb, they have peered so far back that they've seen the first flickers after the Big Bang, baby galaxies still forming, nebulae pregnant with stars not yet born. And all of it told to us through photons. Light is memory. Yes, but it is also prophecy. It tells you not only where things were, but how things move. It lets you trace the arcs of motion, the bends of gravity. It lets you dream forward, not just back. It is both map and compass, and somehow the light from Earth is out there, too, escaping from cities and satellites, from fires and flashbulbs. Every radio wave, every TV broadcast, every spark of electricity, Earth has been leaking light for over a century. A bubble of signal expanding outward at the speed of hope. If someone were far enough away and tuned just right, they could be watching your past unfold, seeing your childhood, your wars, your dances, your quiet revolutions. Your light has gone farther than your body ever will. And Voyager, launched in 1977, rides just ahead of that growing shell of Earth's electromagnetic memory. It carries the golden record, yes, but behind it, in an ever-growing wake, follows the entire luminous story of humanity. You breathe in, you understand now. To emit light is to exist in two places at once. Here, and there. Now, and later. And just as the stars you see are really echoes, perhaps you are someone else's echo. Perhaps your own light, bent by gravity, absorbed and re-emitted by dust, reflected off moons, has become part of a new story. A photon might have bounced from your skin and landed on a glacier, or crossed into deep space, or hit the eye of a satellite. Decades later, you leave traces without trying, you illuminate without knowing, and in this you are not so different. From the stars, even in death, a star leaves behind its light. Even in collapse, it leaves behind a signature. The flash of a supernova still races through the void long after the source is gone. The light remembers. It remembers form. It remembers fire. It remembers where it came from. And though it cannot turn back, it can always be found. You close your eyes, and in the dark behind your lids, you still see it. Not with sight, but with feeling, with knowing. The faint pulse of the universe's memory, brushing softly against your thoughts. You are made of atoms that once burned in stars. You are made of particles that once rode waves of light. And one day, your own heat, your own photons will go on to brush against something else, someone else, a wall of ice, a leaf, a lens, a face. You are part of this slow, endless illumination, and somewhere, Voyager moves through the dark, catching the faintest traces of all that has passed, and all that still lingers, and as your thoughts drift toward the next horizon, you wonder, if light can remember, then what of gravity, the force that holds even light itself in thrall? There is no sound in space. But there is weight, not the kind that presses your body into the earth, not mass crushed by muscle and bone. Out here, it is different. Out here, gravity is quiet, gentle, a whisper that never ends, and yet, it shapes everything. You float alongside Voyager, far from suns, far from planets. The darkness here is complete, but the pull never disappears. Even now, you are not free, you are falling. Always falling around stars, toward galaxies, through warped spacetime. But the fall is soft, eternal, perfectly balanced. This is gravity's secret. It doesn't push, it invites. It doesn't stop. It waits. The earth you left behind is still calling to you, just faintly now, a long note stretched thin. The sun still tugs its gravity like a memory across the void. And Voyager, even as it escapes the solar system, is never truly alone. It is carried forward by the inertia of that gentle, ancient pull. You think of the first time you learned about gravity as a force, as an idea, an apple falling, a moon held in orbit. But that was only the beginning. Now, you know, gravity is not just a force. It is the shape of space itself. Einstein showed us this. Space is not flat, not empty, not still. Mass bends it. Time curves around it. A planet tells space how to bend, and space tells matter how to move. You don't fall because you're pulled. You fall because the ground curved into your path. Even light, that rebel that races ahead of time, cannot escape gravity's caress. A black hole is proof. A place where gravity has curved space so tightly, not even photons can find their way out. You remember, in the early days, humans feared falling into a void. Now, we know voids are not empty. They are full of motion, full of unseen wells. Every galaxy, every cluster, every spinning spiral dances to gravity's rhythm. The universe is held together not by light, not by sound, but by this, the gentle hand that never lets go. You glance. At Voyager, it has long since left the planets behind. Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus each pass by in graceful arcs, but gravity used them. Slingshot by slingshot, they gave the spacecraft speed. Not by pushing, but by borrowing momentum, bending Voyager's path like a note in a song. Gravity, you realize, is not an enemy. It is a gift. Without it, there would be no stars, no warmth, no orbits, no time as you know it. Gravity compresses clouds of dust into suns. It presses hydrogen until it burns. It holds galaxies in place. And it links you here, now, to all that ever was. You feel it, even in your stillness. A deep hum beneath thought. The sense that everything is anchored. Even as it moves, you remember walking as a child, how you never questioned the downward tug. And now, floating in silence, you appreciate it all the more. You're falling still, but outward. Falling into the fabric of something vast. And then, a thought lands gently in your mind. Gravity does not only pull matter, it also pulls time. Near a massive star, time slows. Near a black hole, it stretches like syrup. This isn't science fiction. This is tested, measured, proven. Twin clocks tick differently when placed at different heights. Astronauts age slower than people on Earth. Even Voyager, though far from strong gravity, has felt this. Its atomic clocks drift, ever so slightly, from those back home. A reminder that gravity bends not just space, but time itself. You think, what is time if not a path curved by presence? And what is presence if not a kind of gravity? Your thoughts drift inward. You remember the pull of a memory, the weight of someone's gaze, emotional gravity, the way people orbit each other in silence and attention, the way meaning bends the mind. perhaps this is not so different. Perhaps the universe and the soul speak similar languages. Both know what it is to be drawn in, to revolve around something invisible but undeniable. You look again to the stars. Between them, gravity works tirelessly, holding entire galaxies together, and yet there's something strange. Something missing. Galaxies spin faster than they should. Stars orbit their centers too quickly. By all rights, they should fly apart, but they don't, and so scientists whispered another name, dark matter. You've never seen it, no one has. But its gravity is real. It holds the universe in place. It's not light. It's not gas. It doesn't shine or burn, but it tugs. And in that tug, we see the ghost of something immense, something invisible, something fundamental. Again, gravity is a guide. Even when we don't know what's there, we can feel it. We can measure its pull. We can follow the curves in the road, even if the driver remains unseen. You breathe slowly. The cosmos is not chaos. It's a web, a harmony, a balance between energy, motion, and pull. Gravity keeps Voyager on its path. Gravity held the Earth in its cradle for billions of years. Gravity, in its quiet wisdom, shaped the stars, the planets, the tides, and the rise and fall of civilizations. And now, in the gentle dark, it still holds you. It does not need to shout. It does not need to change. It simply is. You are part of that curve, part of that song. And as you drift onward, beyond the edge of home, you feel something beautiful. You're not falling apart, you're falling together. You are here, at the very edge of the solar system, at the edge of everything you've ever known. The sun no longer shines, not truly. Its light takes hours to reach you now. Its warmth barely a whisper. It's not gone, but it's quiet, dim, distant. Voyager floats forward, still listening, still sending, still dreaming. You float beside it, suspended in this hush, and you realize you've crossed a border. Not one you can see, but one you can feel behind you. Planets, moons, comets, gravity wells, and magnetic fields. The solar wind streams of charged particles from the sun has slowed to a crawl ahead of you. The interstellar medium, thin, cold, strange, a mist of hydrogen atoms and cosmic dust. Between the stars. This is not empty space. This is space between empires. This place has a name, the Heliopause. Outer wall of the sun's influence. The edge of the bubble, it has blown around itself for billions of years. A cocoon made of particles and magnetic lines streaming outward until they meet the winds of other stars. Here, solar wind collides with the interstellar breeze. Here, pressure balances. Here, Voyager crossed over, you crossed over, and what lies beyond is not mapped. You float in stillness. This is not the darkness of a room without light. This is the darkness of a place that has never known dawn. Stars blink from distances measured in years. The silence is deeper than anything on Earth, and yet, it is not empty. It holds stories. It holds memory. It holds possibility. You think of ancient maps, old parchment seas where dragons lived, where here be monsters, marked the unknown. You think of brave ships sailing into fog, into faith. Voyager is one of those ships. And now, you are too. Here, there are no planets to orbit, no moons to measure. No familiar light to guide you? Only the delicate ping of Voyager's antenna. Still speaking across the void, a whisper from home. A final thread, you remember. Voyager carries more than instruments. It carries a golden record, a message, a greeting. A bottle in the galactic ocean. On it, encoded in grooves of gold, are voices and music, images and languages. A map of Earth, a mother's kiss, a child's laughter, the sound of whales. A heartbeat. It is not a blueprint. It is a love letter, not just to other beings, but to the cosmos itself, a gesture of openness, of curiosity, of hope. You imagine a distant civilization, perhaps thousands of years from now, finding it, opening it, listening, and maybe, just maybe, understanding. Because even out here at the edge of all maps, the human heart still speaks. The stars around you are not close. You are still within the spiral arms of the Milky Way, But distances are different now, measured not in kilometers, but in centuries. And yet, even here, motion continues. Voyager drifts onward at nearly 17 kilometers per second. Every second a little farther from home. It won't stop, not for millions of years. Eventually, its instruments will fall silent. Its batteries will die. Its antenna will fade, but it will keep moving. It will become a seed of memory embedded in the dark. A silent emissary of Earth. A fossil of wonder, and perhaps one day someone will find it. Or perhaps it will drift forever, undisturbed. Either way, its purpose is fulfilled, not because it found something, but because we dared to send it. You look back once more. The sun is now just another star among many. No brighter, no larger, no louder. You are no longer in the solar system. You are in the galaxy. And yet, you are not afraid, because in this vast silence, you carry everything that ever mattered. The questions, the stories, the science, the wonder, the wish to know. And this deep, glowing calm, because the journey was never really about arrival. It was about moving forward. Always forward. You are Voyager now. You are the one crossing borders. You are the one writing new maps. You are the whisper in the dark, and as you drift into interstellar space, into the cold that births stars, into the silence that holds galaxies, into the unknown that makes all things possible, you feel it, peace, not because you have reached the end, but because you understand. There is no end. Only horizon. Only voyage. Only wonder. Thin, cold, strange, a mist of hydrogen, atoms and cosmic dust between the stars. This is not empty space. This is space between empires. This place has a name, the Iopause. Wall of the sun's influence. The edge of the bubble it has blown around itself for billions of years. A cocoon made of particles and magnetic lines, streaming outward until they meet the wanes of other stars. Here, solar wind collides with the interstellar breeze. Here, pressure balances. Here, Voyager crossed over. You crossed over, and what lies beyond is not mapped. You float in stillness. This is not the darkness of a room without light. This is the darkness of a place that has never known dawn. Stars blink from distances measured in years. The silence is deeper than anything on Earth, and yet, it is not empty. It holds stories. It holds memory. It holds ... ability. You think of ancient maps, old parchment seas where dragons lived, where here be monsters marked the unknown. You think of brave ships sailing into fog, into faith. Voyager is one of those ships. And now, you are too. Here, there are no planets to orbit, no moons to measure, no familiar light to guide you. Only the delicate ping of Voyager's antenna, still speaking across the void, a whisper from home. A final thread. You remember, Voyager carries more than instruments. It carries a golden record, a message, a greeting. A bottle in the galactic ocean. On it, encoded in grooves of gold, are voices and music, images and languages. A map of Earth, a mother's kiss, a child's laughter, the sound of whales. A heartbeat. It is not a blueprint. It is a love letter, not just to other beings, but to the cosmos itself, a gesture of openness, of curiosity, of hope. You imagine a distant civilization, perhaps thousands of years from now, finding it, opening it, listening, and maybe, just maybe, understanding. Because even out here at the edge of all maps, the human heart still speaks. The stars around you are not close. You are still within the spiral arms of the Milky Way, but distances are different now, measured not in kilometers,